Today, we are joined by League of Legends LCS broadcasters Kobe and Dash. Gentlemen, welcome. Crumbs.
Thank you.
I believe you may have some history with these gents.
I don't think I've ever seen
Reunited and it feels so good, Crumbs.
We have Worlds broadcasters on one side and non-Worlds broadcasters.
He's as far away from you as he can get.
Yeah, notice. He normally sandwiched between myself and Mark, and he's like, no, on my show, you
The
get
desk
to...
is between us now.
This is the non-world side of the room, I guess. We'll carry on from that. So before we
I
get...
feel like you two need to sit down and play Fact or Small.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that
I'm
game.
already terrified of that game.
Yeah.
Well, all right, so before we get into the mechanics of Fact or Swallow, we had some big news coming out, of course, of the LCS last week. Evil Geniuses are back in competitive League of Legends. The ghost of Alex Garfield lives on, taking over the Echo Fox spot. Kobe, what does this mean? Like, does this mean much? And if so, what does this mean to competitive League of Legends and LCSNA especially?
I mean, I'm pretty excited because EG is an organization that's been around for so long, and they are very clearly dedicated to getting to the top right now. I don't follow that much Counter-Strike, but I also saw they bought an expensive Counter-Strike team.
$30 million?
And then they won ESL 1.
Yeah.
That's right, being
Which
Astralis.
is huge. So, I mean, what a way to jump back into the esports scene, kind of, and make a splash.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are also wondering, what does that mean for like Echo Fox and their roster? So for people who aren't informed, like, what does this Evil Geniuses coming back to LCS mean for them?
I mean, I know, first of all, that the LCS worked with them to find housing and, you know, a place for them to stay during the transition. But I think it is up to Evil Geniuses if they want to sign those players or not. And I know that they are pretty deep already in scouting to try and build the best possible roster. So I'm not exactly sure where they're all going to end up.
That's fair enough.
If I had to guess, most of the Echo Fox players are probably going to Academy next year.
That's some tough reality. But let's talk a little bit about Worlds. I think everyone's really excited for it. It is Worlds Day in Berlin right now. So a lot of people are really excited for the play-ins. 12 teams, 4 spots. I think a lot of people are really hoping, at least for the LCS side, for Clutch Gaming to be able to go through with Unicorns of Love and Mammoth in their team. What do you think Clutch...
baby. Let's go, Mammoth.
What do you think Clutch's chances are? I'll go to Dash first here. What do you think their chances are of being able to go through the play-ins?
Pretty high. I mean, I think the expectation when you're looking at the major regions is that they do end up topping their group, and that, you know, that is no different here when looking at Clutch. Now, the reality of Clutch Gaming is that they are a highly volatile team, right? And so on any given patch and on any given day, if they're feeling it or not feeling it, they are liable to throw many games away, right? You know, and so again, that's where you go to, all right, world stage. There is some veterancy on this team when you're looking at the likes of Huni, but in large part, you've got some untested individuals. Demonte in the mid lane, who's got no shortage of confidence.
Tanner time.
Yeah, it's Tanner time, but hasn't played on that stage. And while I want to see him succeed, you're going to have some reservations about how they're going to play in best of ones. And then again, ultimately, you know, if they make it to that knockout stage of play-ins, how they'll deal with the pressure, you know, of the biggest best of 5 of their lives up to that point.
So I think I know how to ask exactly how much you believe in
How much
Clutch
confidence
Gaming.
I have. That's why you brought Crumbs on.
Yeah, the matches start at 4 a.m. Are you staying up or not?
Okay, well, yes. Well, I'm not going to stay up. My plan is I'm going to become a really early riser, I think, for players.
4 a.m., that's pretty early.
Yeah, really early riser. But I might as well move to that schedule. We're going to have to ship across the Atlantic to go join that schedule anyway.
That's the time at the
Big
clock
brain
that when
move.
it goes off at the start of every hustle montage you see, like on Instagram, right?
Exactly.
So that's fine. 4 a.m.
Yeah, I'll be working out while I watch.
Nice.
Exactly how it's going to go. No, this is all aspirational, but I'm hoping, you know, early bedtimes, early wake up, watch my coffee, you know, eat my coffee, watch my games, eat my coffee, drink my
gonna go
coffee.
to bed
Oh my God, where's my
tonight.
brain today, friends?
You're going to bed early to catch that 4 a.m.
That's
Clutch
the
Gaming
plan.
match.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
That's a patriot right
Marco.
there.
Let's America! until they drop a game, then I'm out.
Handle this
4 a.m.
morning crap.
He's going to adopt the phrase "run it up." He's going to just start tweeting random money bags. His middle name's going to change to blockchain. You know, like he's just going to be keyed in.
Uber's got it.
Yeah.
So we got Clutch Gaming. A lot of people are picking Splice and Damwon. Kobe, what about this 4th spot here? Who else has a big chance of going through?
Ooh, I mean, that's always the most difficult one. My eyes actually are on the Unicorns of Love because they're in Clutch's group. And the Unicorns of Love do have a lot of veteran players as well. Edward is on the team, famous Gamut support. But also, they have a really strong mid laner. And you were talking about Demonte. No Man's for them in the mid lane has absolutely destroyed. He's #1 in CS difference, #1 in gold difference. He's a lane dominant mid laner, and that is something that could be very scary for Clutch. So I'm definitely staying up for those games because I am a bit worried about unicorns.
I like how Kobe, the North American representative, chose.
I didn't say they're going to get through.
Out of the only group that has a North American team in it. Come on, you had 3 other groups to choose from, and you went for unicorns alone. To knock out Clutch. Come on, bro.
Make this easy for you guys, right? Let's talk about group stages there, because Cloud9 is in the group stages, right? October 12th is when they're going to be kicking off. The Cloud9 squad, they're in Group A with G2 Esports and Griffin. They've all seen Cloud9 all year. Dash, what does C9 have to do to get out of that group? Because that looks gnarly.
Yeah, they pray that Griffin doesn't show up.
Well, they lost their coach
in any way, shape, or form. They did lose their coach. We can get into what that means. No, I mean, the reality is that, G2 and Griffin, they look strong, right? So if I'm going to lean on anything, again, it's the inexperience / choking factor of Griffin as an organization that has kind of plagued them throughout their history, and to say, okay, as insecure as you might feel, Cloud9, coming into this group with your chances, understand that Griffin is probably feeling those exact same things. And then, actually, organizationally, Cloud9 has been far more successful than Griffin has ever been on the world stage, and especially for
I want this Dash more often on the desk.
Well, this is you. Yeah, you get Unchained Dash when
You talk about Griffin, right? There's some weakness there. What about G2 then? Does a weakness exist? Now, this is tough for you guys, obviously, as you're NA representatives, and G2 looks dominant, but where did they lose? Where is a weakness there? I mean, you're trusting them not
I would say G2 are probably the favorites to win the tournament right now by the majority of analysts. And so when you're looking at weaknesses, you have to hope that Worlds Bootcamp and the changes in Worlds meta are where those start to come apart, right? Because the biggest thing about Worlds ends up being adaptability almost every single year, and how the meta changes over the course of the tournament.
inside the tournament, right? It develops its own little meta as time goes on.
Right, yeah, from week 1 to week 2, right? And then from groups into the knockouts, everything
I
changes.
take it you two share the same sentiment that G2 would be the strongest, because I saw in I think it was Jat that was going crazy about SKT being the #1 seed. What's happening? You guys are buying into this?
So I was going to defend some of Jat's logic, but I'll let Kobe.
I was going to go with Phoenix. I was going to go with the
FunPlus?
LPL team. Yeah,
FunPlus
FunPlus Phoenix. And when he was going off on SKT, I was like, I love Faker. I'm glad he's back, you know. He's got a good shot. But I think most people are actually underestimating the LPL right now.
Why do you think that is?
Because not as many Western viewers watch the LPO. Like they don't stay up for the time. If they're staying up for that time slot, then they watch Korea. That in combination with Invictus Gaming, the defending world champions, completely falling off. They look so much worse.
Right.
All of summer, basically.
As soon as MSI happened and Invictus loses to Team Liquid, I think the world largely started to discount LPL's chances kind of on the world stage. I do want to return to the Jap point, though, because while I wouldn't necessarily predict SKT to be the favorite or to win myself, I think that there's a lot of sound logic behind what he's arguing, and I will poorly quote him, I'm certain, from This or That this week when he kind of talked about SKT briefly. History is important. It is still very important to informing our predictions and how we think about performance leading into this Worlds. And when you look at the dominance of the Korean region over League of Legends over the last 8-9 years, that can't be ignored. And while yes, a Chinese team did come in and upset Korea as a region, guess what? And then even G2 comes in to MSI and upsets the world balance again. Okay, you've had 2 examples of 2 different regions topping the international stage just one time. Is that really enough to discount everything that the Korean region has achieved and their ability to bounce back?
It is Reddit and all these other social media having knee-jerk reactions.
So I think teams like SKT have to be acknowledged and respected coming into this tournament as true contenders. And again, it's up to them to actually show up on the day. I still am more excited by G2 as a team.
I think part of the reason SKT are contenders, and I wouldn't say favorites, is because they have changed with the times. You know, that's an indicator. Them losing Worlds, you know, then following up with the MSI as well. I really like how Cloud9 has changed his team. You know, super active jungler working with Faker to get them 2 Worlds.
You know, speaking of changes, speaking of Korean teams, you mentioned it too. CV Max, not the coach anymore for Team Griffin. Do you have any insight on how did this happen right before the World Championship of all events?
I mean, James touched on it a little bit, how Griffin often lose in the high pressure situations. And we don't have any extra insight than anyone else. But when you look at those situations, you can tell how the team would focus on the coach, right? Because we're, oh my God, we're so good all year long. Why can't we get it done in the high-profile games? And it looks like he had to pay the price.
Yeah, don't have any intimate knowledge on the decision or the situation per se, but I have to imagine. You can look at this as a fault, you know, a loss of whatever that they will be coming into the World Championship less prepared or a step down or with less energy or less momentum, I think, than if they, you know, had kept everything the same and kind of that, you know, reassured confidence within their own structure and organization moving forward. So again, one of the things that perhaps, you know, we can look at from Cloud9's perspective and say, okay, we got even more of a shot because something's coming apart at the seams over there.
Do you feel like that's enough of a slight disadvantage or maybe advantage to Cloud9? Because I mean, last year they were underestimated. This year...
So my strategy, there's no way I'm ever predicting them getting out of this group because you have to keep your expectations low. Every single year, that works.
I'll predict.
Cloud9 always overperform when you have your low expectations. That's their secret for always being the NA team at Worlds that does well. So just
lower the expectations every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Curb your enthusiasm slightly, right? Exactly. And let's talk about Group D. Team Liquid's in that group. You guys mentioned Invictus as a team that obviously are the reigning champions and had a run-in against Team Liquid, and we saw a fall from grace there. Do you think Team Liquid makes a deep run in Worlds, you know, based on how they've been performing recently?
I'm hoping so. I'm a little bit scared for the Team Liquid style because they have this very clear style and they do not want to speed it up that much. They have kind of, you know, adapted to the times, but DoubleLift even gave a recent interview over in Europe right now while I was at the boot camp, and he's like, one of our biggest problems is getting pulled into the pace of other teams. And I'm just a bit scared because when I'm talking about OnePlus Phoenix and stuff like that, their pace is so quick. And G2, their pace is so quick that if one of your problems is is dealing with that faster pace, then it might still be a problem. That being said, I do think that they are going to get out of this group. And I think that is going to be very good news for DoubleLift.
Damwon gets in Group D?
I think even if Damwon get in. I know that's controversial,
but I still expect Team Liquid to get out.
You know why? Damwon's bottom lane, I think, is trash.
Okay. All right.
There it is. I'm drawing a blank. Remind me of the third team that's already sitting in that group.
AHQ?
Okay, AHQ. Yeah. So at the moment, you would expect Team Liquid and Invictus probably to get out. I think it's very strange to come into this year's World Championships and to be looking at the defending World Championships as, at best, a possible dark horse for the title again this year. As Kobe mentioned, like they do not look like the same roster that took the title last year, but I still think they're a team that might capitalize like they did in previous years on being the forgotten team or the unrecognized team and may very much show up again to make a run at it.
All right, fair enough. We wanted to talk to the chat a little bit. This is a live show where we're interacting with y'all on Twitch.tv/Cloud9. So we wanted to ask the fans a couple questions directly to you. So one of them they wanted to ask was, what do you think are going to be some of the more interesting picks for Worlds this year, if any?
So Dorian B, the mid laner for OnePlus Phoenix, has a lot of interesting picks over the course of the year. His second most played was Nautilus. mid. So I think that one has a high chance of showing up. But he had much more fun ones. Like he even had Skarner. And he had a jungle item. Don't worry about it. He actually. But I feel like that is going to be a
this
team.
is your #1 team, the Skarner mid.
Captain Flow's freaking out right now.
Exactly. But like he is this player that will pick unconventional champions in mid, but also have these unconventional builds, and then roam a lot with their jungler. So
Heimerdinger.
Oh, Heimerdinger did get
He got
buffed.
buffed, so I don't think it's actually going to be wild that we see him. I think we will see him, but again, Heimerdinger's a champion, just warps the way the game is played.
I have one to legitimately ask the both of you if you've been seeing him when you're looking at these teams. Orange jungle, because he has been changed a bit, and he can legitimately clear very well.
Really?
And once your levels are sooner, so you have more masterwork reworked items, which means you have a crazy late game.
I have played the orange jungle. I'm a fan because you don't have to go back to base pretty much ever. Just keep building your items while you're out there.
Kobe's dream. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's going to be a huge pick, going to overtake the jungle meta or anything. It can show up, but I don't think it's going to be things that people are going after, especially because they're buffing things
Lee
like
got buffed.
Lee Sin. Elise is super popular right now. A lot of these junglers, they're going to make early action. Orin's not going to be able to go and make some super early games.
I just think Heimer's interesting because we could see it top, mid, bot, right? Like Perks will play it AD carry. Detonation Focus Me, Saros, mid laner, will play it in the mid lane. He's 4-0 from Summer Split, I believe, on it. So like play-ins should be really exciting to watch him to see if he even gets it.
Japanese Heimer, PogChamp, baby.
Right? With the buffs, let's go.
We're taking some questions in from chat as we go here, but a real quick question. You guys play much TFT? You guys getting into that much?
I played a bunch because we just did Twitch Rivals.
Twitch Rivals?
I had 3 patches to catch up on.
Oh, great.
So, Kobe had a long day. He casted the League of Legends show match, which, by the way, was awesome. The Yasuo Tyler one.
Oh my God, that game 3 was insane.
That was epic.
Yeah, Kobe had a crazy long day. Fun little tidbit. I was told that I was working with Twitch Rivals, but I was not told if I was working the league portion of it or the TFT portion of it. And I think I got it in my head that I was working the TFT portion of it. So leading up to this event, I grinded my way to diamonds.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, I'm gonna be prepared.
Whoa.
I'm ready to go. I show up to TwitchCon, and it's like, and then, yeah, I'm diamond in TFT.
The best part is
Why are you so surprised?
the best part is from space where he's like, you? Diamond?
What the
I've
heck?
seen you not get last in a TFT game every time I watch.
Wow.
You've always been, because then I play
You
my
and your
game,
Underlord
and
Tie
I
Horse
lose
over
as
there.
well.
All right,
No, I'm
buddy.
off it. I'm off it.
Anyway, I
too.
did all this prep for TFT to find out that I wasn't working any portions of the TFT event, but I've been playing a lot of it.
That's a
Sucks. The tournament organizer, whoever organized that tournament, should have done
No flame to them. No flame to them.
Produced it. That Frodan
You
guy,
or
yeah.
anyone else.
Well, Kobe, how was casting at TFT event? It was the
It's-
first offline event.
Yeah, it's super fun. I really like TFT. There are a lot of fun moments. It's very difficult though because we have multiple lobbies running at the same time.
Right.
8 people in every single lobby, so you have so many things to try and keep track of that it's mostly talking about streamers and the individual players and personalities with the Twitch Rivals thing until you get down to the final 8.
Got it, fair enough.
All right, so prediction time, right? We're on the desk now.
Oh boy.
Which LCS team goes the farthest in Worlds?
Cloud9.
Whoa. Nice.
It's always
checks in the
Cloud9.
mail.
He said history is important.
Yeah, no, it's always
true.
Cloud9.
If you go by history, it's definitely Cloud9.
You're on
He
board with
knows
that?
how to get invited back on the show.
Friend of the nines.
Where are we at? How did I get here? Yeah, no, I think simply because of that. It's a long track record of being successful. You have some very stable players on that team, like Sneaky, who have been to more world championships than anyone else, right? And who can ultimately, kind of calm a team with Reapered at the helm. And then, as was mentioned, I think on the previous show where you guys were talking about Worlds, like, let's remember how far they went last year as a very young team,
yeah.
right? And so let's build on that. And I think that's where I allow my kind of expectations to run wild.
Yeah, and I think one thing, people were a bit worried when they had the mid laner shift, right? They lost Jensen. Jensen is such a big part of Cloud9, but I think everybody on that team is so happy that Niski joined. He has fit in incredibly well, incredibly quickly with that team, so I think they can do pretty well.
Of course, because it's the day before Worlds begins, literally, who's going to win it all? Who is the world champion this year?
You should notice how I didn't scream Cloud9.
I'm gonna stick with my OnePlus Phoenix.
Really?
But that's gonna make a lot of European fans mad that I didn't say G2.
Yeah, well then I'll say G2.
There you go. You can be the good
Yeah,
guy.
we'll cover our bases there.
This is what I call clout sharing. You know, just make sure the net is cast wide enough. Make sure
Exactly.
For this one, I'm the bad guy. You.
And then Jat's got SKT. So there you have it.
as was made very clear. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for
first of
having
all,
us.
what are you guys going to be doing in terms of what you can say for Worlds? What are you guys going to be up to, and where can we follow along with the action?
I'm flying out for group stages to cast the majority of the tournament. And then I'm also doing This or That as our YouTube show that we do. And we're doing special episodes of The Dive For You. It's a combined podcast.
Yeah, Pog, that sounds good.
I am sticking around in the U.S. a little bit longer. Shox is at the helm throughout group stages before she hops over to master all the interviews, as she does so brilliantly. So I will come in for quarterfinals, leaving just a little bit later than these guys. In the meantime, I know you guys have heard about the HBO Ballers partnership. Freak and I were very lucky to be involved with that and even sneak into an episode. So our featured episode's coming up. Keep your eyes out. It's a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Big fan of Ballers, actually. I love that show. That's
Great
awesome.
show.
Nice.
All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.